Hello and welcome to Odds Checkers NFL Prop Show. What's going on? I am Matt O'Leary, joined by Derek Carty here. Big week for Derek last week, 3-1, bringing him up to 8-4. I had a rough one, 1-4.
3-0, I think, right? Waller was a nothing because he didn't play.
That's right. My apologies. Yes, he didn't play. So 3-0. How about that? That's a great week. I struggled at 1-3, but looking to bounce back. Let's get us rolling, Derek. What do you got for a passing prop this week?
Yeah, I'm going with Sam Darnold over 243.5 passing yards, -115. Darnold has been really bad the last couple weeks, and I think that is influencing this line. Obviously Darnold's not like the greatest quarterback in the world, but he is in a better system this year. I think we don't want to be recency biased when we talk about him. And the matchup is really good. He's in a dome. He's facing this exploitable Atlanta defense. He's in the fastest paced game of the week. Atlanta's a top 5 offense in terms of pace. This is a really good pace up spot for him. It's really good in terms of what he should be able to do with his efficiency between the dome, the defense. The only concern is if he gets benched again, but if he's throwing the ball well, as he probably should in this spot, I don't think that's much of a concern. I think the line is really low. And so I'm totally on Darnold here. His best 2 games this year have been in domes, in Dallas, in Houston, threw over 300 yards in both of those games. I have him projected here for 295, which is a good 50 yards over this prop. So I really like this.
All right. I'm going to go with an under this week for my passing prop, and I'm going to take Ryan Tannehill under 245.5. He's cleared that number just twice this year, and on average, Indianapolis is allowing less passing yards per game than that prop is coming in with. I just think with the Titans offense, how they've been running the ball with Derrick Henry so much, I think that's where the success is going to be. I just don't think he's going to get the opportunity to clear that number unless his yards per attempt is some crazy high number this week, which I just don't necessarily see against this defense here. As for a rushing one, what's jumping out for you?
I'm going to the other side of this same game with Cordarrelle Patterson. Patterson last week, Mike Davis has been brutal all year. Like, people have been clamoring for Patterson to take over the lead back role. And that's kind of what we saw last week. We don't know the extent that it's going to be continued. It was only 1 week. It could have been game plan specific, et cetera, et cetera. But Patterson did get 3/4 of the carries last week. And that is a big number. Like I said, this is the fastest paced game of the week. We expect a lot of plays to be run here. Atlanta projects to run more plays than any other team on the entire slate. And so if Patterson is going to be the lead back here, I think this number 42.5 looks too low. I have him projected about 56. So I think the over here looks pretty good. Obviously, there's the risk that Davis works back in more, but I do think this is a good spot for Patterson.
All right, there you go. More on Patterson later. There's your hint, by the way. For my first rushing prop, I'm going to go with Dalvin Cook over 76.5 yards. Dallas, the defense is averaging 86.2 rushing yards against. Last week, they allowed their first 100-yard rusher, and I think Dalvin coming back from injury, he's a little bit rested. He's ready to go. He's been a little inconsistent from what we've seen this year, but I think he's due for a big week against the Dallas defense, who has kind of took a little bit of a step back against the run in recent weeks. So I think he clears that number. How about receiving?
I'm going to stick with the same game for one more of these. I'm going to go with Robbie Anderson getting thrown the ball by Sam Darnold. For all the same reasons that I like Darnold, plus a few others, I like Robbie. He's in the dome. He's against this exploitable defense. It's the super fast pace. And I think it's another case of recency bias. Like, Robbie Anderson has been straight up brutal this year, but he has to get better. He's a talented receiver, and the volume has been there. He's, over the last 3 weeks, he's gotten 24% of his team's targets. He hasn't done a whole lot with them, but eventually that's going to change. And this is the kind of spot where you would expect it to. So the line is 48.5 receiving yards. I have him projected for about 65. I like this quite a bit. Obviously, I like this game a lot.
Absolutely. I'm going to go to that game right now with my prop. I'm cheating a little bit. I'm using a rushing plus receiving yards prop here for this one. I'm going to go Cordero Patterson over 83.5. I just think the usage in this game from the rushing side and the receiving side is going to help him get to this number. He cleared it the previous 3 weeks. Before last week, he only had one receiving yard, which was just bizarre. I don't think we see that again from him this upcoming week. And when Atlanta's offense has kind of gotten into a rhythm, sure, they have, Kyle Pitts and some other big name guys out there, but I think Patterson's going to have his fair share of opportunities here, and that number just seems a little bit too low for my liking. So I'm on the over there. Is there a bonus one that you wanted to share with us this week?
Yeah, I'm going to leave this game and I'm going to pick another one. I'm going to go with Chris Godwin over 74.5 receiving yards, negative 115. This line just feels like they're expecting Antonio Brown to be back, and that's not going to be the case. And Chris Godwin projects as the most efficient per target receiver in football. He's extremely good. He gets thrown the ball by Tom Brady, one of the best quarterbacks in football, one of the most pass-heavy offenses in football. And with Brown out and Gronk probably out again as well, the volume should be there. We saw him smash last week. I expect this to be a pretty similar spot. The line is 74.5. I haven't projected it 94. It just seems way too low. Oh, and he gets to go into a dome, which I love. No wind means better efficiency for quarterbacks, for receivers. So this just really is I think, a great spot for Godwin, and I love the over on it.
Okay. I'm going with that game as well, but a little bit of a different direction. I have Tom Brady under 2.5 passing touchdowns. The Saints, on average, have only allowed one passing touchdown per game. The number 2 defense overall. At certain points this year where Tom Brady has gone against these, quality defenses, for instance, the New England game or the Rams game, didn't clear that number. I just think that the chances of him getting 3 passing touchdowns against the Saints defense, probably not likely. If he comes in at 2, I think that's right around where he should be against this team. And I think they're going to try to get Fournette involved in this one as well. So I don't think he reaches that number. So there you have it for week 8 with our props. Going to have to tune in again next week to see how we do. Derek, appreciate you coming on with me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a lot of fun.
That's going to do it for us. Make sure to tune in next time.